Have you ever been marginalized? I have, and this is my story. I used to live in a predominantly white neighborhood at a point, and my mom was actually coming home from work. She used to take the bus. So she was walking home from the bus stop, and this white boy, he was about, I'd say maybe 6th grade, roughly. He told my mom, go back to where you came from. And my mom was like, I'm a U.S. citizen. Like, she didn't say anything to him. She just walked past him. She's like, really? Like, you're a 6th grader. What am I going to talk to you about? My mom's a U.S. citizen. We've lived here, like, for years. My parents migrated here over 25 years ago. So this is our home. Where should we go back to?
September 11th, that's when everything got kind of different for me, I guess. 3rd grade, I think, you're 8 years old or something. And, it didn't help that I was Afghan on top of that. In the next couple days, these students, that were in my class and other classes, basically, they started asking, the terrorists were Muslim, the terrorists were Afghan. Were your parents involved in that? Do they do the same thing? Is that something that you guys do? And now thinking about it, you're just like, no. Our religion doesn't involve blowing buildings up and making, defamating your image, millions of images. Now when you think of a terrorist, you don't think of what it can be, you think of what it was then. When you think of a terrorist, you think of, fist-length beard Muslim with turbans and AK-47.
When I was in high school, I was walking down the hall after school. I was involved in a lot of after-school activities, and I was walking down the hall with a friend and I, and there was a teacher who was in the hallways putting up some posters and stapling stuff on the walls, and I was wearing a long dress, a long loose dress, and I was covered because I'm Muslim, and I cover my hair, and I wear long clothes, and I do cover myself. So the teacher saw me, and she said, you shouldn't be allowed to wear stuff like that. How do we know you don't have a bomb underneath there?
Back then, it was just shocking. Didn't make me angry. It didn't make me want to yell at them or anything. It literally just made me want to cry. You just go from being me, Waleed, to the Afghan kid, the Muslim kid, the terrorist.
And that was a shock to me because my high school in general was a very diverse high school. There were people from all over the world. So it was a shock to me that in such a diverse school, how could a teacher even have the audacity to say something like that to one of the students? And I felt like I have the right to express my religion in whatever way. I was expressing my cultural beliefs, my religious beliefs, by dressing modestly, because that is the basis of one of the fundamental beliefs of my religion. And for someone to look at the way I dress and make such a comment was very hurtful, because I feel like an educational institution is somewhere you go to feel safe, a place for dialogue, a place to learn, and to be judged is just not right.
And literally after that day, my life was literally never the same, I guess. The way that people looked at, me was different. The way that people looked at my family. And just the questions I got from then on. Questions that I thought were so stupid and so obvious, But, they would still be asked. And then people just start looking at you differently, and then, then after that, I was literally so embarrassed to tell anyone where I was from or what I believed in, because it just makes you want to run from everything that you are, and you can't, because you can't run from yourself. I mean, that's just who you are. That's the circumstances you're brought into this world in, and at first you want nothing to do with it, but because it's scary, and people, they look down on you, they're condescending towards you, all because of an extremist group of a few people, and from then on, the whole group is marginalized.
My story is just a small part of what really happens in the big world, like in the world as a whole. And I can't just take my story and like things that happen to me and just cry a river over it, because that's not going to help. I feel like it's what happens isn't people trying to be mean to other people. It's people being ignorant, not knowing about other cultures. It all comes from the foundation of how you were brought up and what you were taught throughout your lifetime. And if you were taught these kind of beliefs and these values, that's what you're going to hold on to throughout your lifetime. But I hope that my story and other stories alike give people a bit of a glimpse into other people's lives and how such comments impact them, because it does impact people, and sometimes it creates a sense of fear. Like, you want to live here, this is your home, but you're fearful because people are judging you, and these judgments can turn into hate crimes, and they can turn into people hurting other people. So I hope that my story and other stories create a platform of dialogue. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to accept everything. But just being willing to talk about it and being willing to answer questions is a huge step towards accepting diversity and differences.